Good afternoon. My name is Lieutenant Craig Cummings, Texas Department of Public Safety. Today we're here to provide some updates on the search for 11-year-old Audrii Cunningham, who went missing on Thursday of last week. Um, I'm also joined by Polk County Sheriff Byron Lyons and Polk County District Attorney Shelley Sitton. Um, I want to say that investigators are following active leads based on tips and evidence that we have gathered. The videos submitted to investigators by the community have been very helpful. We're looking for and asking the public's help for additional video on FM 3126 that shows the highway. This video would have been on Thursday, February 15th between 6:30 a.m. and 8 a.m. So again, that's video from FM 3126 on Thursday, February 15th between 6:30 a.m. and 8 a.m. that shows the highway. I also want to announce the Polk County Crime Stoppers reward has been increased to $10,000 for information leading to the arrest and prosecution of the person responsible for Audrii's disappearance. We are asking the public, based on the evidence that we have been getting right now, to stay away from Scenic Loop FM 3277 unless you have a need to be there. That is a potential point of interest in this investigation. We've had a lot of people driving down there. Please stay away. Let the investigators do what they are doing and our volunteers what they are doing so that we can bring Audrii home. We also want to say that we're thankful for the Polk County District Attorney's Office for their continued legal advice as they provide that to investigators in this continued search for Audrii. The investigators have given McDougal, who was arrested Friday on an unrelated charge, several opportunities to cooperate, and we remain hopeful that he will begin helping in this case. Now, we also want to address some rumors that have been circulating. McDougal is not required to register as a sex offender. We would refer you to the various counties that prosecuted McDougal for inquiries regarding his criminal history. And we also want to say that McDougal resides in a camper behind the residence where Audrii lives with her father, grandparents, and other family. The family does have a relationship with McDougal. And with that, I want to turn it over to Polk County Sheriff Byron Lyons for some remarks for him before we open it up for questions.
Good afternoon. Since Audrii was reported missing, we have been working with investigators and volunteers, doing everything we can to bring Audrii home. Unfortunately, I've had bronchitis and it has impacted my ability to speak. So that is why I want to say first, thank you to the Department of Public Safety and to the FBI for assisting me with the social media and my media briefings. I also want to take a moment to thank all the investigators and the volunteers and members of the community who are working to bring Audrii home. The outpouring of support from the tips and from the videos and the donations of food and water has just been inspiring. As a community, as a county, as a state and a nation, the search for Audrii has brought out some of the most exceptional people that I have come to know. I have been in contact with the family, and they want everybody to know that they thank you and they appreciate all the prayers and how you've kept Audrii and them in your hearts. And they just ask that you continue to pray for them and Audrii's being able to bring her home. And I'd like to say thank you to everyone who has helped in this case. Any other questions?
Now that you're looking for where McDougal's vehicle was the morning that Audrii disappeared, are you able to confirm that he was the last person seen in her vehicle, that he was sent straight to the bus stop?
He was supposed to be taken to the dropping off at the bus stop, and we do feel at this point that he was the last person who seen Audrii. There has been information found that there were some occasions that he did drop her off at the bus stop or even take her to school if she missed the bus.
There's rumors flying about that McDougal has confessed. Would you address that rumor?
McDougal has not confessed. He has been talking with some of the investigators, but at this point in time, he has not confessed.
That scene of interest that you're asking the public to stay
You know, and that's kind of why one of the reasons that we're asking for the videos. We're trying to piece together a timeline of where he's been and the travel that he took, the roadways that he took. So this area is just one that's in particular that we can say that we know that he was in, and so we're making sure that we do extensive search of those areas. But the problem is that when we have a lot, and I know that people are concerned and people want to help, but a lot of time when we bring too many people into an area, it hinders our efforts in being able to try to find and locate evidence.
Do you guys know if that was Audrey's backpack that was found near the dam?
We feel strongly today that that backpack that was found is a high probability that it's going to be Audrey's.
She has a lot of water around her home.
Sheriff, this, I think, called the criminal investigation and the foul play to be suspected. Could you expand on that? What crime is being investigated specifically? And could you expand on the foul play suspected?
Okay, yes, we do feel as though we are investigating a criminal investigation, and at this point in time, as we conduct our investigation, we are not leaving out or adding in any just charges. We are investigating the evidence as if any, if we find any, and then we'll let that be determined. You know, once we get all the evidence put together on what charges, if any, will be filed.
McDougal's '07 charge, '08 conviction for enticing a minor with intent to commit a felony out of Brazoria County. The case information publicly accessible over the weekend and on a holiday is very limited on that. Was that felony intended a sex crime?
And be honest with you, I don't know. I can't answer that right now because it's in another county. The only thing that I've been able to find out that it was not something that they were able to uh, require him to register for as a sex offender.
Have you gone around water taken McDougal to the dam or the Trinity River since he's been arrested?
There have been some occasions where, on one occasion where we have taken McDougal, that he agreed to work with us and has taken us to certain locations.
She lives around water. Have you checked the water around her house?
I was going to ask about the email that was sent to parents on Friday, letting them know about the disappearance and letting them know and asking them to provide video we were talking about. That email says that we can ask parents to look for video starting at 3 a.m. on Thursday. Is there a possibility that Audrii Cunningham could have disappeared sooner before the 7 a.m., which was the time that she was reported?
No. And see, one of the things in our investigation, when we conduct investigation, we want to make sure that we try to capture a, a good timeline. So even if we're looking at a projected time, say if it's 7, we still want to go to back up, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, because we want to know exactly what the individual or suspects may have been doing up until that point. Someone asked about water around the house.
Around the house. Has that area been searched?
That-
Okay.
That was the first area on the night that she was reported missing. Volunteers came together with law enforcement. That was the first area the subdivision search.
Yeah, so you really make sure I understand properly. So she didn't go missing before 7 a.m. She didn't.
No,
She did go missing
no.
before 7 a.m.
no. Let me take that.
6:45.
6:45 is when we felt like she went missing.
Do you believe that Audrey is still alive?
I'm hoping and praying that she's still alive. I am not giving up hope that we be able to bring Audrey home. So, yes, I am hoping that she yet is still alive. And we're going to work just as hard to make sure that we do everything that we can to try to bring her home.
Sheriff, is there any other person of interest in this case?
Okay, we got a couple questions at a time. Right here.
Would McDougal be cooperative? Is he being investigated? Is he not talking?
When you say is he being cooperative, I think that Mr. McDougal, he is what he's doing on occasions. He will, and I use that word cooperate lightly, but he is somewhat, working and talking with the investigators. But we are very cautious on the information that he's giving.
Are you guys
Sheriff,
able
do
to
you have
count on
any other
GPS?
persons of interest in this case?
I will say this, that there are, at this point, Mr. McDougal is our main person of interest, but we are not ruling out anyone else who may be or involved or may not be involved. We are not just honing in on just this one individual. We're making sure that we're covering all stones.
Do you anticipate charges being filed in connection to this case anytime soon?
I anticipate that if the evidence presents itself that proves that Ms. McDougal has committed an offense or crime, that charges will be filed in him in Polk County.
So Mr. Dugal has taken you to some places and you asked him to point you to certain places. Can you explain that again?
So in speaking with the Rangers, we're just asking them, hey, take us to where in any places that you think or where you may have been. And so he has done that on one occasion.
I think you hinted at the answer to this, but we've had a lot of community members approaching us saying they want to volunteer to help search. Is there a place for them in this search, or do you really need them to step back and let you guys do your job?
Okay, and kind of like I addressed in my opening statement, is that I am so grateful for those who have came out and volunteered, raised their hands to want to participate. And yes, the volunteers have been great and have been very valuable to us. But one of the things that we have to do is that we have to limit and we have to make sure that we don't overdo it, because remember, we are yet still, while we try to bring Audrey home, we are yet still making sure that if there's evidence or if there's anything that we need to capture or anything that we need to be able to retain, we want to make sure that we don't have so many people that we damage or destroy evidence at the time. So the way we are today, we had the volunteers meeting over at Tigerville's Park, and then as we needed them, we would send an officer over to get those folks and then take them into an area to help search.
Sure, to follow up on his question regarding the location where Matt Google took you and other authorities, could you share that location and what was the background
At
there?
this time right now, we 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 don't want to share locations that he's taken us to, other than to say that there are multiple places of interest that we have gone to and have made searches, and I'm sure before this day is out, we'll be searching other locations.
Because he
Did
did
you
not
find
confess,
something
can you
there
provide more
though?
context on why
Did you
he's
find
taking you to those
something there?
places? What is he saying when he takes you there? Just, oh, this is where we drove, or
And really, when it comes down to it, I wasn't there with those officers, and so I can't answer to exactly what was just said, other than these are just places that he instructed them to go.
Has McDougal made a claim that he dropped her off at the school bus?
No,
Was something recovered, Sheriff, from those locations? Is that where the backpack was found or other items were found?
the only thing at this point in time right now that I can speak to for sure is going to be that backpack.
so do you think he's given you false leads?
And that's the thing, is that we have to just continue to work all the leads that he's presenting to us. Um, Whether or not they're false or not, it depends upon how it works out and how the investigators are able to put those pieces together.
And
Are you guys able to come with cell phone records, maybe like where he could be?
We are working with every tool made available to us, whether it be cell phone, whether it be video, which has been an awesome tool for us. We are using every tool made available to us to try to piece together a window or a picture of where he may have gone.
I'm sorry, just to clarify, is he acknowledging that she never actually made it to the bus stop?
I'm sorry, repeat that.
Just to clarify, is he acknowledging that she never actually made it to the bus stop?
At this time right now, he has not acknowledged that, whether or not she's made it, whether or not he dropped her off or she made it to the bus stop or not.
Has he admitted to leaving the house with her?
Yes.
Can you clarify that location where you're telling people to stay away from? It's called the scenic route, is the name of it, where it is.
It's off of the scenic loop. It's well, let me say it is. It's in the scenic loop area there near Tigersville Park. If I say on national television, don't go to this specific location, kind of defeat my purpose. But I am saying that there are officers that's in the area who are instructing people or directing people away from those areas. Please work with those officers if they ask you to turn around or they ask you to go into another location while they would search those areas.
Sheriff, you mentioned that he admits to leaving with Audrii Cunningham, and now we know she's missing. What else do you need to charge him for a crime? Because the child is nowhere to be found.
Well, our thing is, and the district attorneys here, one of the things that we must do is that we must not jump to conclusions. We want to make sure that we take all the evidence that we have collected. Yes, he may have been the last person with her, and yes, she is missing at this time. But we want to make sure that whatever evidence that we collect and that we place on an affidavit today is going to be something that's going to hold up in the court later. Um, it does us no good to prematurely charge him now, and then 3, 4 months from now it get tossed out of court because we were moving too fast. So I ask you, please understand as we work carefully through this, because Audrey deserves this. She deserves us taking our time. She deserves us making sure that we do it right. She deserves to have her voice to be heard. And I want to make for sure that we do that and we do it the right way.
Sheriff, one of the cell phone techniques is called geo tracking. One of the cell phone techniques is called geo tracking. Are y'all using geo tracking?
I will say this, um, we are using every tool made available to us to be able to work cell phones and videos and video to be able to try to track his movements that morning.
Has any other person of interest come to fruition and have they been eliminated?
There have been other persons that we have certainly have looked at, and at this point in time, we're not ruling anyone out. You know, at this point, we are still, it's an active investigation, and everybody's going to be looked at, everybody's going to be maintained until we can definitely say for sure either you are or you're not a party to this investigation.
What are the details about the aggravated assault charge that he's currently in jail for? Can you expand on that?
The details, what I can go to in on that was it was an aggravated assault that took place um, August, I believe, and that in that investigation there were some um, during that investigation there was some circumstances that took place that would not allow us to be able to arrest him at that time, and he would not cooperate, would not basically lawyer up, would not talk with the investigators. But on I think Saturday, Friday night, whichever night he was arrested, he did make the statement to that offense, which at that point in time he was arrested for.
What was the offense? What is he accused of doing in this case?
It was aggravated assault. He assaulted another individual,
Male, female?
male.
We've also heard that he has, obviously a violent criminal history. There's also rumors out there that he has affiliation with the Aryan Brotherhood. Are you able to confirm that?
We have we have heard those same things, and we've been told that there is an affiliation with the Aryan Brotherhood. Those are some things that we will come back after we are able to get Audrey located, and we will tie those things down to prove whether or not he's affiliated or not.
Are you guys doing an extensive search for any evidence in the house, the RV, the home itself?
Those things have been done. Yes, ma'am.
Two more questions.
Have you talked with Audrey's dad or family members?
Yes,
Are they cooperating?
very much so.
Can you expand a little bit more on the relationship between Audrey's family and him? I know you mentioned he lives in an RV on their property, but were they friends prior, anything like that?
And for this to be our last question, to answer your question is that basically the way it was explained to us is that he was a friend of the family, a friend of the father, and he was allowed to live there in a trailer behind the house, and he was a friend of the families, um, and basically that's why he was there, allowed to live there. I appreciate what everyone has done. I appreciate your helping us get Audrey's story out there. And thank you so much for your diligence in this. And I ask you as you continue to work with us and allow us to tell Audrey's story, allow us to work this investigation properly and understand when it doesn't go or doesn't appear to go the way that you feel it should. Trust us that we're getting it done and we're trying our best to do it the right way. Thank you. I
Thank you for
appreciate
your
it.
service and your officer service.
Thank you.